Jeffrey Chen. I'm a rising sophomore at Penn, and I study chemical and biomolecular engineering. And at school, I'm part of the engineering council, so we do a lot of administrative work for the School of Engineering. And in my free time, I like to play soccer.
Cool, cool. So, why did you choose to do Horizons for a summer, as opposed to an internship or some other experience?
Right. So, actually, Avi and Darwish came to our school to give a talk about breaking into tech, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, well, tech is the future. I'll go give it a shot. And so the talk was actually pretty compelling. And I'm like, the theme was, take risks and whatnot. So I said, okay, well, I guess I don't know much about computer science, so I'll give it a shot and see if I can learn it over the summer. So that's why I applied.
What about that talk was just like, let's do this?
Well, I've always wanted to take a gap year, right? And so in the talk, Avi was telling us about how he took a gap year and how he was pretty, I guess, scared beforehand, but, he manned up and took the risk. And I'm like, well, you only have one life. You might as well take some more risks.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. So what's it like being a Penn student at Horizons, given the fact that the founders and a lot of people here are from Penn?
Well, it definitely makes it easier to connect with people socially. It's like, oh, what school do you go to? Oh, I go to Penn. Oh, wow, me too. And then you instantly have a bunch of stuff to talk about. But other than that, there hasn't been a huge impact because everyone here, the experience is very external from what school you go to, right? Everyone's here to learn. Everyone's here to get involved in the atmosphere of tech.
So can you go elaborate a little bit more? How is Horizons different, academically speaking, when compared to a university or a classroom at school?
Right, so when I go to a class at university, I have one goal in mind. It's to get a good grade so I can move on to a class that, eventually gets me to my degree for my major. Whereas for Horizons, you essentially get what you put into it, right? So if I don't go to class, it's not like my grade gets penalized. It's I get penalized. I don't learn, I don't advance, or I don't expand as a human being.
Who's keeping you accountable here?
Myself.
Okay.
And that's the main difference.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about what you have learned from Horizons, either it being entrepreneurial or just coding-wise, and elaborate a little bit as to how you feel now coming towards the end of the program?
Right, so I learned a ton of things coding-wise, a bunch of libraries. I love using React, I love Redux, React Native, that sort of stuff. And I guess the biggest thing is being able to put the ideas that I had in my head into actual production. Because beforehand, it's oh man, I have this great idea. I wish one day I could build it. Now it's oh, I have this idea, now I can go build it, which is the most rewarding part.
Okay. So when you first came into the program, what expectations did you have? What fears did you have? Were you scared that you were going to fall behind? Were you scared that this was going to be too easy? What were those expectations in itself? Yeah.
I think anyone going into a program that's full of, I think, advertised some of the nation's brightest students will have the fear of falling behind. I personally did. But when I first got here, the atmosphere was very non-threatening. All the TAs were very helpful. All the students especially were very helpful. And I think part of it was the paired program exercises. That was fantastic. You got to meet everyone. It was a very just low-stress environment, even though we're constantly, learning new things. And I guess academic-wise, it's pretty stressful, right? But socially, it wasn't.
Okay. What did you do when you were overwhelmed?
Right, when I was
learn all this materials being thrown at you. How did you manage that?
I took a walk and got some coffee.
Okay, cool. So how has this experience extended beyond the classroom, specifically being you're here 9 o'clock till 6? How has Horizons extended beyond just in this space right here?
Well, the biggest thing for me is socially. A lot. So I go to Penn, right? And I think a fourth of the students here this summer are also from Penn, but I didn't know any of them before coming to this program. And so people-wise, that was the biggest thing. After school, you hang out with the people that you do projects with, that you eat lunch with, which is the biggest part. And so talking with these kids, because everyone has the same sort of entrepreneurial spirit that I have, you basically learn from them. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the learning experience just never stops.
You kind of go after the classroom and you have these great conversations.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Can you share maybe one of those conversations that's been awesome for you, or it's been memorable, or an experience that if you were to, I guess, if you were to describe what you did this summer to an elementary student or a high school student, what would that short snippet be?
Well, there was this one conversation that I had with another student here named Quinn on our way to Berkeley for a blockchain meetup. So, that in itself was pretty.
Yeah.
But it was just like a random conversation about handshakes, right? He was telling me about all the social cues behind a handshake. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I never knew that before. And it was coming from like a successful entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
And so then I in turn told him a thing that I learned about eye contact during public speaking sessions. And so it was like that sort of like small conversation on our way to something completely unrelated that was most notable to me. Yeah.
Okay. How has Horizons changed your perspective on coding or entrepreneurship as a whole?
Yeah, I thought coding was for nerds before this. I still think that, but it's also a lot more fun than I originally thought.
Okay.
There's that.
Cool. Love it. Awesome, man.
And cut.